The Chrysler driver succeeded in escaping the police chase in his car.
On April 25, 2024, State Route 52, a white Nissan Altima was in the center lane at a high speed, visually estimated at 100 miles per hour. An officer high-speed chase on Palmetto Highway in Miami-Dade. It all started when officers from the Robbery Intervention Unit, who were conducting an operation in Florida City, spotted the SUV apparently cordoning off a warehouse area. Violent crash during police pursuit. The armed robbery suspect not only survived the accident, but also managed to get out of the car on foot.
In Antelope Valley, the driver attempted to cross several lanes at 120 miles per hour, but lost control, and the vehicle went off the road and landed on the side of the road.
She might have seen something that she didn't like there.
Wild multi-county chase for suspect who stole a pickup truck with a trailer, a coffee cart, and a man inside making coffee. California Highway Patrol pursues black Toyota Prius. Los Angeles, a high-speed pursuit of a black Prius driver from Ventura County to Woodland Hills. The pursuit began in Ventura County, Camarillo shortly before 2 p.m. on Friday, June 2, 2023. The Prius was involved in a catalytic converter theft. The suspect drove from Camarillo to Thousand Oaks and then into Woodland Hills. The suspect eventually exited Highway 101 and traveled on surface streets near DeSoto Boulevard and Ventura Boulevard. Deputies conducted 2 pit maneuvers, but the vehicle continued driving. However, the bumper did partially fall off. As the suspect was turning right on DeSoto Avenue, deputies conducted a 3rd pit maneuver and blocked the vehicle in. The officers pointed their guns at the suspect. Then, the male driver waved both hands in the air and eventually stepped out of the car and was taken into custody. A few minutes later, a woman appeared from the vehicle and was also taken into custody. On April 25th, 2024, State Route 52, a white Nissan Altima was in the center lane at a high speed, visually estimated at 100 miles per hour. An officer caught up with her just east of Shady Hills Road, and the vehicle was traveling at speeds of 103 miles per hour to 111 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. The officer activated the lights and siren on the patrol's unmarked gray Ford Explorer in an attempt to stop the vehicle. The white Nissan failed to stop, ran a red light on Shady Hills Road.
He's about 150 outside lane, down to 54.
And continued west at a high speed. The white Nissan made a U-turn in the center median, and the officer continued to pursue the white Nissan at speeds in excess of 115 miles per hour. The suspect was passing vehicles in the center median and on the outside shoulder. The suspect was driving recklessly with willful and wanton disregard for the safety of persons or property. The suspect exited onto Ridge Road and made several turns in a reckless manner. Finally, the officers succeeded in stopping the suspect and he was placed in custody. High-speed chase on Palmetto Highway in Miami-Dade. It all started when officers from the Robbery Intervention Unit, who were conducting an operation in Florida City, spotted the SUV apparently cordoning off a warehouse area. To begin a high-speed chase involving several officers and many cars on the Palmetto Highway. Several officers were in unmarked cars alongside Miami-Dade police as they pursued a speeding silver SUV that was weaving in and out of traffic on the Palmetto Expressway. At some point, the SUV struck a vehicle parked on the shoulder, eventually coming to a stop near the eastbound exit on Northwest 47th Avenue, where officers surrounded it with their weapons. They were detained.
Up in Air 7 HD over a high-speed pursuit, CHP chasing a woman behind the wheel of a stolen Honda CR-V, northbound 5 freeway up the Grapevine, now approaching Gorman. We have made our way through Santa Clarita, through Castaic, and now approaching Gorman. You can see still pushing the pedal to the metal. There is at least that one unit behind. There are additional units up ahead. There's an air unit involved as well. She's pushing 90 to 100 miles per hour ahead, and if the opportunity allows, who are also ready to spike that vehicle if, again, they have just the right conditions to do so. In the meantime, you can see the squirrely driver weaving across all lanes of the 5 freeway. That primary unit doing a great job keeping up next to all those trucks as she tries to evade law enforcement. Right now, we only have a visual of that one CHP cruiser. Behind, units ahead, really looking for that opportunity to potentially spike the vehicle and hopefully bring it to an end that way. But look at how that primary unit is skillfully navigating all of that truck traffic just to keep up with her, even using the shoulder when she has to get around traffic. And that primary CHP cruiser has done an excellent job, by my eye, keeping up with her. Not easy at these speeds.
Yeah, certainly not. And she's at least going 100 miles per hour. We've seen up to 113 miles per hour. That's pretty incredible. And just flying through all the different lanes and driving like that, that's a pretty scary situation. Thank goodness there's not a lot of traffic on the 5 right now, at least there.
Yeah, I mean, from a tactical standpoint, it seems to be in the best position, the best place is on the freeway for a pursuit just like this. Look at that, another black and white, ready to engage, just waiting there to make the U-turn, and now you have at least a couple of units on her tail now. But yeah, this is the safest place, all things considered, on a controlled freeway. Hopefully they can perform some kind of a traffic break up ahead, and that would reduce the risk to other motorists and even supply the opportunity for a possible pit maneuver, but she'd still have to slow down tremendously to even consider it. But even a spike strip, if you can get rid of all of the other traffic and take them out of the picture and just have that one SUV coming towards you, much easier to lay down that spike strip, especially with only 3 or 4 lanes on the 5 freeway as it begins to narrow up ahead here.
Yeah, it certainly would be great to get her off the freeway, because this is a pretty scary situation. And just like you said, there's one way to where she's going. There's really no exits. There's nothing out there in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know where she thinks she's going to go. She's going to end up, like you said, in Bakersfield. But once there, then what? I don't know what she's thinking. None of us do,
exactly. And there are places to hide up there. I mean, it's obviously a more densely populated city. If she takes that route, right now we're in Fraser Park. Yet another CHP officer pulling over for her, making room to give her as much. Look at this! Almost crashing into those construction barrels at a high rate of speed. That's the kind of thing that could really end this in a crash really, really quickly if she starts colliding with debris or objects, especially those construction cones or barrels. Those will definitely put a dent and potentially put a stop to this pursuit really quick. And she is using that shoulder because there's really very little room to play with, threading the needle through the barrels, trying to get around this traffic. It's down to 2 lanes. Just like I mentioned, as the freeway narrows, there's very limited opportunity for them to chase her. However, she is managing to navigate these nooks and crannies, squeezing through traffic here, squeezing through construction barrels, trying to get away from those primary units. They are still keeping up with her, but this is becoming more and more dangerous by the second at these speeds on these narrow lanes. Yeah, we've never really, you don't really see this kind of speed when on this freeway like this on shoulders and going through those traffic barrels. My goodness. Yeah, and when first of all, for some reason, for whatever reason, when we take these pursuits up into the high desert here, it typically happens at night, where we are very limited and don't have the best optics on pursuits like this. This is a unique daytime pursuit up the Grapevine along the 5 freeway, finally getting our first glimpse of the female driver who appears to have possibly a pink backpack or maybe a shopping bag on her lap. So she's steering that vehicle with something, a large object. I don't want to speculate what else it could be, because I mean, it could be anything, quite frankly. But she has a large object on her lap as she tries to wrestle with that steering wheel, even taking her hands off the wheel. My goodness. Taking her hands off the wheel at triple-digit speeds, doing about 110 miles per hour up the 5 freeway, ruffling through that bag. It looks to be either a shopping bag or a backpack that she's rifling through to try and get something, but she is taking her hands off the wheel at extremely dangerous speeds, passing by every other car in front of her, using that shoulder now to evade those primary units. This is not looking good, Ellen. Not at all. I feel for those drivers on the freeway. If anyone's watching, you have your friends or family on that freeway, give them a heads up, because my goodness, this is a cringeworthy type of pursuit. Yeah, it really is. And by the way, in the last several miles here, we are now on a downhill incline that is really accelerating all of the traffic on the freeway, including that pursuit vehicle. She's obviously got the pedal to the metal, still pushing 95 miles per hour here, and she will have a decision to make whether to take the 5 northbound or to get off at Bakersfield. We'll see what she chooses coming up in the next couple of miles, but the traffic situation should lighten a little bit more, but she's still hugging that backpack, trying to get something out of it, driving with one hand on the steering wheel, that left hand wrapped around the steering wheel, and that right hand trying to get a hold of something in the bag. She is all over the paint now, all over the road, as she tries to continue this pursuit up the 5 freeway. This is just a really nerve-wracking situation. There's so many other cars, even though volume is relatively light. Just one wrong move and somebody's going to get hurt here at these speeds, as this distracted driver is now just refusing to slow down. Yeah, watching her go through that backpack and looking down while she's going that fast, you don't realize how fast you come upon another vehicle if just a second looking down.
The latest details on this pursuit, Chris.
Yeah, I want to recap what we're watching here. A high-speed pursuit down the 5 freeway coming down the grapevine as CHP tries to approach this vehicle from a number of different angles. They've got units off the freeway, they've got units behind her on the southbound side of the 5 freeway, and units waiting for her up ahead. You can see that black and white getting on the freeway, transitioning on right now. Again, they are trying to get this woman off the road. This was an LAPD pursuit that started somewhere near the San Fernando Valley on the 118 and ended up in Santa Clarita. LA County Sheriffs followed her through the valley, and then eventually CHP took it over on the 5 freeway as she continued all the way up past Castaic, up the grapevine, and now going southbound after making a U-turn just a few miles back near Frazier Park. And now you can see she's continuing on the southbound side at triple-digit speeds in excess of 110 miles per hour. There is nobody else in the vehicle that we are aware of, but she has at times been rifling through either a shopping bag or a backpack that is in her lap that we saw just a few minutes ago. You might be able to re-rack some of that video. You can see her with a backpack in her lap, a pink backpack, with one hand on the steering wheel, at times taking both hands off the steering wheel at triple-digit speeds, coming very close to other traffic. At one point, she even struck a construction barrel as she sped through a construction zone, but it is unclear at this point what has caused that damage. Some minor damage on the front right fender of that vehicle. Also, the front bumper appears to be dangling off as well, at least a part of it anyways, as we take a closer look at the front end of that stolen CRV. Again, that is a Grand Theft Auto. Almost went airborne there, to be honest with you. Losing control. This will do it. A major rollover crash under the freeway at Quail Lake Road. She might have seen something that she didn't like there, maybe even a spike strip, but in any event, she made a last-minute decision to get off, and that is the end. She is in a very, very major crash, rolling over multiple times into the pillar of that overpass. CHP is going to approach that vehicle. It'll be surprising if the driver wasn't even ejected there. This is a major collision at the end of this pursuit at the 5 freeway and Quail Lake Road. What you guys saw just now was about as bad as this could have possibly ended for the driver inside that vehicle. Man, that was rough, guys.
Oh, Chris, look
I'm
at
sorry
that.
you had to see that, but that was a rough crash.
And there's that pink backpack that it was ejected from the vehicle there. Wow, Chris. Oh, that is a horrible accident.
Without showing the actual crash. So you can see her speeding down the southbound side of the 5 freeway across all 4 lanes, from the right lane over to the gore point, over the paint where she's beginning to lose control because that is a dirt patch between the exit ramp and the main freeway, and then tries to regain control on the exit ramp, going at about 100 miles per hour, riding the center lines before losing control again right here where she loses control of those right wheels. Once she hits the dirt there, that's where she spins out, and that is the end of the story. She just had no chance of getting out of this one.
Violent crash during police pursuit. The armed robbery suspect not only survived the accident, but also managed to get out of the car on foot. For people in a red sports car. Very high speed and dangerous chase through Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties. The driver drives the car at 120 miles per hour while being pursued by police. Then the 4 men abandon the car and flee. Welcome to the High Speed Channel. A robbery suspect led the Los Angeles Police Department on a wild chase through parts of downtown Los Angeles and Koreatown. Los Angeles, California. Thursday afternoon, August 1st, 2024. Suspected stolen BMW. A high-speed police chase in Los Angeles took a dangerous turn as the driver of a BMW crashed into another vehicle before knocking down a pole, hitting a parked car, and knocking down a street sign. At Wilton and 5th Streets in Koreatown, the BMW collided with a white Mazda, causing the vehicle to veer off the road and crash into a nearby building. After hitting another vehicle, a parked white SUV, and knocking down a sign, the suspect in the BMW not only survived the crash, but was able to escape the vehicle on foot. The pursuit began after an armed robbery. 3 people, 2 men and a woman, were arrested. A gun was recovered at the scene of the Koreatown incident. No fatalities were reported as a result of the serious crash. Wild multi-county chase for suspect who stole a pickup truck with a trailer, a coffee cart, and a man inside making coffee. July 16, 2024. On July 16th, the suspect jumped into a pickup truck that was also pulling a coffee service trailer in Moorpark. The suspect was unaware that the vehicle's owner was still inside the coffee cart. At the time, the vehicle's owner had entered the cart to prepare a drink for a family member who had arrived at the home. When the truck suddenly took off, the man was taken on a violent and brutal ride through Ventura and Los Angeles counties as police officers pursued the stolen truck. Hanging on for life, the man grabbed a sink inside the coffee cart as the chase became more chaotic. Eventually, the man couldn't hold on any longer. It turned and the side door came off and I got out when it turned. The coffee cart later flipped over when the suspect crashed the pickup truck into the Heartfelt Education Through Art Center building in North Hollywood. The man was taken to the hospital with serious injuries after the ordeal. The incident left him in severe pain and limited his mobility. The suspect was arrested on multiple felony charges, including unlawful driving or taking of a vehicle and receiving stolen property. He is being held on $20,000 bail. Crazy chase of a motorcyclist at high speeds of up to 140 miles per hour in California. Dangerous, high-speed pursuit of a motorcyclist at speeds of up to 140 miles per hour on Southern California highways by California Highway Patrol officers. Southern California. Wednesday, August 14, 2024. The suspect was near Baldwin Park shortly after the pursuit began. While in the eastbound lanes of Interstate 210, the suspect reached speeds of up to 130 miles per hour and 140 miles per hour before exiting the freeway for a moment and then re-entering with California Highway Patrol cruisers. Shortly after the pursuit began, the suspect ran off the highway in Sunland. Then the motorcycle slowed down, or perhaps the motorcycle ran out of fuel, and stopped. He calmly surrendered to the police. Officers quickly surrounded him and took him into custody.
2024. California Highway Patrol is pursuing the driver of a Chrysler Econobox, perhaps because there is no license plate on the vehicle. The chase lasted a few minutes off Interstate 110, and the driver was traveling at a high rate of speed.
Coming up on Manchester, making a right turn, westbound Manchester, heavy traffic at a red light, lots of brake lights you can see here. He is stopped in traffic, does not have anybody behind him. But again, California Highway Patrol does have eyes above. We will see what the driver decides to do here, whether he continues on at a safe speed on surface streets or if he continues that erratic driving or perhaps attempts to dump the vehicle. We'll see what happens here. You can see CHP continuing past the exit. They apparently have lost the vehicle, but we have eyes on him. You can see him right there in the turn lane, making that right turn onto Figueroa, southbound Figueroa from Manchester around that Popeyes, and now traveling at a relatively safe speed here. We'll see if anybody catches up. This guy's looking down the wrong road here, right? He's is this LAPD? Is that CHP over there and LAPD over here? Okay. Yep, he's on Fig. Southbound Fig. Southbound Fig. I'm sorry, northbound Fig. Northbound Fig. Vehicle traveling with traffic, northbound Figueroa, paralleling the 110 freeway. 2 law enforcement helicopters now flying overhead. LAPD joining the pursuit here with California Highway Patrol with eyes on the suspect. We are trying to keep a visual here as we stay east of the 110 freeway. You'll be able to see him peeking through these buildings. Turn, I wonder. Westbound, he made a turn. Westbound 78. Made a westbound turn on 78th Street. There's the night sun. Could be him there, we'll see.
He stopped at 79th Street off Interstate 110, then disappeared and was able to escape. Where did the white Chrysler go? Some said, U-turn on 78 and head east and turn left into the northbound alley. And someone else says, he has definitely turned to this complex. If he doesn't live there and knows someone with a garage, he's straight. Because even if they have a registered address, they won't be able to prove it's him driving the next time they're stopped. And someone else says, he slowed down and headed directly under the helicopter and kept going. And someone else says, he turned right onto 79 heading east, then the helicopter was waiting for him to pass at 78, and he probably took 79 to the big level and jumped back on the freeway or continued on no side streets through the east side. It's really the helicopter's fault that it looked away and should have stayed zoomed out. Or perhaps he went down the alley next to the blue 3-story building and stopped underneath the yellow building as the police car passed. In the end, the Chrysler driver was able to escape, but from where we do not know. Full chases and highlights are available on the pages of High Speed channels. Thank you for your support and subscribing to the channel. High Speed Chases 2.